but I could never seem to find the time to read anything. This is not a justification, I hear you, through the computer screen. It is just reality. But what I did not realize was that I was limiting myself as a writer. This is Hey sis, welcome to the Entrusted Women Podcast, a one-point podcast created to equip Christian women communicators of color. Every episode focuses on a single point to equip you in one of four areas: purpose, writing, speaking, and business. Along the way, I will share stories, lessons, tips, mistakes, and real-time experiences I am learning on my journey as a Christian woman communicator of color. Now, let's dive into episode 14. Today's point is great writers are readers. I think it's fitting that I start today with a confession. And so here it goes. I never, ever used to read books. Yep, it's true and a little shameful to say out loud considering what I do for a living, but I have a really good excuse. I used to be a homeschool mom, and a disorganized one at that, which is why I am no longer a homeschool mom. Shout out to the homeschool moms. But I could never seem to find the time to read anything. This is not a justification, I hear you, through the computer screen. It is just reality. But what I did not realize was that I was limiting myself as a writer. This is because reading the work of other writers will enlarge and enhance your writing capabilities. Now, let's just say that this has changed drastically because I spend a large portion of my life in the car driving my kids wherever they need to go. I'm a mommy Uber. So I have an Audible subscription that I utilize, but if you do not have the money for Audible, you can also use Libby from your local library. It's free. Just to prove my point that writers should be readers, I am going to give you 7 benefits of being a writer who reads. Benefit number 1. Reading helps you to establish your voice. I never will forget the impact that listening to author and speaker Beth Moore has had on me. If you have ever read or listened to her speak, you know that she has a very distinct Arkansas dialect that is undeniable. When listening to her, I am always challenged to practice using and discovering my authentic Texas, Southern, country, proper, and slang speaking voice. Benefit number 2. Reading helps to encourage your imagination. This is especially true when you read fiction. I can remember a previous hairstylist who will remain nameless always asking me why I read so many self-help books. That's because all I ever used to read was nonfiction, leadership, Christian, yada yada type books. But when I decided to start reading fiction, it was a total game changer. This is because stories, dialogue, and creativity only make nonfiction better and more enjoyable, not worse. Benefit number 3, reading improves your grammar. And now for my second confession of the podcast. I didn't really pay good attention to English in high school or college for that matter. And as a result, I'm a little uncertain when it comes to grammatical rules. Things like the semicolon, moment of silence, or quotation marks, should the period go inside or outside, and diagramming sentences. I kind of missed all of that, but when you read other writers, you can learn from their revised, edited, and proofread work. Benefit number 4, reading improves your vocabulary. I don't really consider myself a connoisseur of words, but there is something to reading a book and having to stop and look up a word because you don't know what it means. Yes, it's a little annoying at times, but it absolutely will make you more knowledgeable of different words and how to use them in context for your own writing. Benefit number 5. Reading teaches you about people that are different from you. Recently, I've become a little bit obsessed with memoirs. I've read Beth Moore's memoir, Viola Davis, Kerry Washington, this other memoir, which is based on a true story, Everything Sad is Untrue, and I'm currently, at the time of this podcast, listening to Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, in his book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. Now, let me just give you a quick disclaimer and a caveat if you decide to go check out one of these books, because there may be some parental supervision that is recommended if you know what I'm saying. But these memoirs have cultivated a deep love for humanity, all humanity, that I don't think I would have had otherwise. I have learned about people from different walks of life, people that are not the same or not in the same circles or similar circles that I am in. This will only make me a better writer who is able to connect with all people and not just those in my limited sphere of influence. This will all deepen my empathy for people who are not like me. And we could all benefit from some additional empathy. By the way, if you have a great memoir recommendation, please don't keep it to yourself, girl. Drop it in the thread below. I'd be glad and elated to read it. Number 6, reading enhances your memory. What? Sis, that's good news in these I can almost round up my age to 50 streets. Amen? Apparently, reading fiction improves analytical thinking. Yes, and enhances problem-solving skills. That's great considering writers need to be able to solve problems, don't you think? And I think we also need to know why people do what they do. If not why a character behaves in a particular way, we may need to evaluate why we do what we do in our nonfiction text. And benefit number 7. Reading helps us support other writers. Yes, girl. Sis, let me be the first person to say we need to pay it forward in these writing streets. Being a writer is hard. Being an author, if we are not a big-time celebrity or someone with a massive following, or an I can become a New York Times best-selling author by just dropping a book on Instagram type person, it's going to be tough. In fact, statistics are now saying that people don't even read anymore like they used to. What in the world? Oh my gosh. People are not buying books? This is concerning. If you have not published a book, then you haven't felt the pressure, the intense pressure, no doubt, to sell the book that you wrote yet. But sis, you will if you are determined to publish a book. So why not use the literary golden rule and do for others what you hope they're going to do for you when it's your turn? And there you have it. 7 reasons why writers should be readers. I hope this will compel you to go over to Amazon or Audible or Barnes & Nobles or to your local library, although you wouldn't be paying for the book, and pick out a really good book. If you are a communicator, writing or speaking, and you desire to be effective, not just do it, but be effective, I want you to take my Effective Communicator quiz. Simply click the link right down there in the description section of this video or of the podcast. Additionally, if you are interested in connecting with other writers, I want to encourage you to join our free community. Yeah, girl, it's free. Of entrusted women that are focused on determining the message that we have been entrusted with and the intentional purpose God created us for. Join me next week as we talk about why you can repurpose that.